Is everyone good for this speech track?
Yeah.
Lowercase n, 4, capital W, lowercase w, lowercase t, capital K.
Do you guys care if I watch?
No. Sorry, we just left your phone in here. I'll just grab that real quick. Good luck.
I'm just gonna say that it's over. Okay. You know what the floor was? It was 12?
Yeah, 12.
Does anyone need the space drop?
No, I have it on this. So.
Just somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if this is a me problem or if
I don't know. I'm just like never used ethics.
Okay, is everyone good? The meta-ethic is natural, so the United States substantially reduces its military presence in Israel. The standard is consistent with canonic utilitarianism, one pen and pleasure equal 86 since we feel and also that reason to act symptoms some kind of reason not put hands or not possible someone never rated to do anything so which we cannot with positive evaluation to no objective view could overrule 32 phenomenal intercession and is the only reliable process for police. Nelson 20 feelings for the press we know pleasure pain if we don't know we have no way of telling to reject this we know national I want to adult to because they can see that no he's in pace no touch arguing this knowledge of phenomenal is kind of phenomenology detecting pleasure and all feeling pleasure and pathological non-pathological all flawed 3 actors by governments must use useful because they don't have intentions and are constantly dealing with trade-offs. Different agents have different obligations, which takes out their calculates because they're imperial good night 4, no intent 4, say distinction for states, Enoch 7, pictures being first in cultivate responsibility and duties, possibility of attributing in terms of all significance, consideration, very weighty to say actionable, perspective must be undertaken, how high hand, intending for seeing distinction of governance, no such relations to persistent interest and how nice lives, no reason to responsibility like individuals, 5 degrees of wrongness, breaking a promise to take a dying person to the hospital is worse than breaking a promise to be someone for life because consequences are worse. 6, necessary enablers. If we ought to mow the lawn, we ought to turn the lawnmower on. The consequences of that action is being able to mow the lawn. 7, extinction outweighs its infinite, but full for other process causes billions of painful deaths, and the risk for outweighs its risk for wrong. It turns are offense because it violates everyone's self-determination. 8, death turns are offense. Their theory is constrained by a destroys the subject ontologically, which makes searching and goal of ethics impossible. 9, reject a priori reasoning source. No day empirical experience offer evidence humans. Modern knowledge by empirical sources, no knowledge apart from observation and sincere experience humans. Most successful not because we possess non-experiential ways, but because we cooperate, we don't have capacity for a priori knowledge. Reject calc and ice 1, ethics would indict everything because you use events to understand how their ethics works. 2, prove util. It's difficult not that is false. 3, wait in case this proves it. No, all periods in the app and offense is anything that proves or disproves the desirability of the plan post via offense matters under the rule of value weight. By affirming which this case is utilitarian to the role of the value is to compare the desirability of the world of the app and the world of the by fair arguments 1, topic education, infinite number of myths and permissibility arguments under truth testing, last debaters radical arguments which means topic education. 2, reciprocity truth testing imposes unfair burdens on debaters and requires debaters to prove statements definitively true or false. 3, inclusion truth testing is designed to exclude individuals who don't have the physical ability to skill and catch on the line all these both arguments which shuts out novices and excludes with disability. Here is a CSA, put the link below. Nothing in the app triggers resumption of permissibility, but it affirms 1, freezing can't operate. If we can't trust anything, if I told you my name, you'd believe me. 2, statements are true before it's false, which is the argument I said above. 3, if everything is permissible, so is the plan. Nothing prevents us from doing it. I should be able to cross the street even if there isn't a sign that says I can't. 4, tautological. We should be able to be unreasoning since we'd have to question that reasons. There's always a 0.1% risk of offense and triggers us for education and force 1 recess, so their reason to reject the team. Now the advantage 1 is moral hazard, increased military aid to Israel. Emboldens Israel locks in escalation and undermines our global alliance network. Continue put in Washington to destabilize the relations or representing power critical reserve for limited allowability U.S. mechanism to high alliances. Occasional allies behavior ability to control escalations for plans and capacity. The same third parties require the U.S. to terminate relationship refer reliable security version creates moral hazard confidence American emboldens behavior because reverse subject Washington relative to those allies and friends. Military activity comes into Washington corrosively the most aspects for Israel alliance and the U.S. continues not to Tel Aviv, U.S. and Germany so and Taiwan to prevent for low super disadvantage is would he leave alliance to serve U.S. interests better. Statistics prove military aid undermines cooperation solvent at all of U.S. military Christians are more likely to fight the U.S. if the U.S. is unwilling to punish them. This paper systematic investigation prevent existing literature theoretical models for established accurate in all states and entrapment and moral hazard are accidental LLC interest in 18 license civil war. Otherwise, now is no reason to trust security guarantees of entrapment for contemporary significance current city. This determine not either state takes a step prefers to avoid benefits and decisions when confronting timing resources objective. All forms more likely when unipolarity win every time uncommon exclusively from the Cold War moral hazard always was here at headline. Where does the same dominance of the U.S. is really vulnerable? Nuclear war is under research and secondary effects guarantee extinction bomb 15. Nuclear considered global environmental effects dramatic cooling to the plants and precipitation increase. UV radiation impacts intersected life and consider the breadth of possible impacts. The smoke and particles travel high in the atmosphere, causing nuclear intercivil source activity combat. 40% of civil market several years with their allies and adversaries have given up Israel massive 23 US. Iceland is also 153 US, Canada, Egypt, France, Iran, Iraq, Japan, Norway, Oman, Philippines, Russia, Saudi, Africa, Soko, Syria, Turkey. Advantage to US regional stability. US involvement is a critical internally the plan cap square power isolation limits. Break the US part of the genocide critical green to nuclear around air station US. Here's attack Iran taking about radar harbor sonics once around corner Russia coming. Full blown war fall of Iran. You fall Russia response to China. Already launched the Taiwan within the US, NATO, Russia, China, Iran, and nuclear reality, anger, or survival, independently continue presence locks in existential terrorism. Jenkins 23 cause terrorist infection the region magnitude of terrorism depends on how long it lasts. Movers lead opportunities to war track. Extremist information situation they capitalize on his well solid destruction. US interventions for attacks from domestically Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Rockets, missile attacks, US troops assassinations, US military presence multiplies regional instability. Western 21 US persons feels instability and terrorists attacking troops force withdrawal presence at its enemy and overseas bold authority crackdown extinction of all and voice to listen from nuclear series pending sex removal matters for weak judicial systems impunity and a nuclear attack of one compound bomb cause unprecedented catastrophe total info radiation causes worldwide security governance politics under zero tolerance distress spread rising tensions leading to secret self-control escalate present conflict emergence of new ones military null and expenditure costs of nuclear order setback disarm and NPT. The plan also been built up an aggression confidant and World War III Israel's Spolsford, anti-Americanism and has been run on U.S. military flow forces and also will resolve and deter, but the expanded military presence after hinted race versus mishelp and tangle. The U.S. diplomacy since October 7 and to spiral another additional forces in order to deter attacks become worse and increase presence. The China proxy groups to see Washington as a co-conspirator in Israel's campaign and rational continuing military buildup and escalation is specifically caused by support for Israel, although and ultimately the wrong word friends with the U.S. of Hisa for Israel, U.S. advice return beside with Israel. Totally internal documents and historical precedent demonstrate Iran's defensive realist revisionism only exists in a world of status now and U.S. military presence marquee. Title 23 cents Islam prohibits the regime to fight its policies and opposition to the U.S. regard Americans as the main threat against the withdrawal of U.S. military coordinated foreign policy of Iran reject on nomination was started. Hegemonic superpowers view U.S. military presence and undermine leadership statements purpose of the U.S. would overthrow Iran fear as long as U.S. forces remain exists to invade Iran witness U.S. interventions mark interventions. Iran war causes extinction war 20 attack directed multiple continents of the U.S. Iran war worst conflict hell on earth no channels stress situation leads to protect bloodshed after retail Iran's counter missiles bomb and have a bigger attack and full scale war extremely the D-cities from soldiers until from Iran split into fashion distributing civil wars refugees spoke out forgive pockets give terrorist havens ontology and epistemology are secondary to the plan driver's secret epistemological ontological way is the leaders and displays content for those in struggle with us. How to see the price, how does it solve war? Does it's beautiful policy no problem solving back? Ever hates any hope of coming and realities and the links confront.
Okay. Go for cars.
Yeah.
Then I'll start it now. The plan, the United States ought to substantially reduce its military presence in Israel. It says military presence, but then both advantages seem to be solely about aid and support in the form of aid. Yeah, okay, the first one, like if you control F aid, like the first two cards are just covered in it, but then the second one, it's like it all says military presence in the tags, but then all the cards are like support for Israel, which is not like troops in Israel.
Wait, you don't think
aid.
Troops and bases signal American support for Israel? Yeah, like really?
Okay, sure, but it seems to be talking about the continued support for Israel's campaign against Hamas. That's,
okay, so like one, military presence and bases are support for Israel. 2, we have evidence about Iran and terrorists attacking U.S. troops and bases.
Okay, sure. Well, then the first advantage is still about aid, right? Like.
Well, first, the Porter evidence says we must, quote, terminate the alliance relationship to solve entrapment and signal to future allies that if they behave recklessly and hedge against great powers,
so then the plan would stop aid? Like,
I mean, we defend the plan text. You can define military presence, we can counter-define it.
So I just want to know if the plan text includes aid, like if that would be a mandate of the plan.
I mean, you can read the plan text. You can read definitions of military presence. We can clarify.
No, I just want to know in cross-ex like whether or not you defend aid.
I said we defend the plan text. You want me to read the plan text?
No, I asked you about the first advantage. You said it obviously includes aid because that's what the whole first advantage is about.
Well, you can say that. Then say that in the 1 and C. Right now we said we defend the plan text.
Sure. Let's talk about let's talk about let's talk about the framework section. The first part, pain and pleasure. Can you explain it?
Yeah, well, so we think that whether or not like humans can take action or whatever, or like whether or not these moral obligations exist, if you were to like put your hand on a hot stove, you would immediately pull that back. You do not consider like moral implications of that. You just know that you feel pain, and in that moment, you automatically pull your hand back.
Okay. What's this phenomenal introspection thing?
Well, it says that we, based off of our past experiences, our feelings guide the way we treat our moral obligations. This also says the hot stove example. And
Okay.
whether or not we know things about moral obligations, if we were to put our hand on a hot stove, we would pull it back.
Okay, cool. The reject a priori reasoning, or actually, no a prioris in the AF. Is there any like indexicals in the AF?
No,
No? Okay,
I'm like pretty sure. Like
pretty sure.
I'm still learning all of these LD terms.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send the one. See.
Let me just download a flow template. And then... Sorry, it's opening. Okay, so it's okay. Just give me 1 sec, because the dog is still open. What was the order?
3 and then case.
What's the order of case?
An overview, the framing section, and then the advantage.
Advantage is script.
Yeah.
1 sec. Cool. 3 advantage 1 2.
Mhm.
I am good.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Substantially reduces the total for 25%. US Code 10. Secretary of Defense identified defense tokens of the DDD. That will be substantially reduced. Substantial reduction. Substantially reduced means a reduction of 25% or more. That must be measured from baseline of total presence plus 97 billion presence is the totality of US instruments of power deployed overseas along with the requisite infrastructure and sustainment capabilities. 130 Israel doesn't cut it. It's not even close now. Over 40,000 troops in the region proven by the map, and they have less than a fraction of a percentage. Neg predictable limits in ground. Absent hard numerical cap on a substantial asking to remove singular bases on sales or operations, making the function topic functionally limited and limiting scope of link for core disadvantages of interpretation proposals that flexibility in a position independently outweighs even the version of the topic is marginally more pragmatic one that arbitrarily justifies such thing once without a solution, which at the whim which has negative preparation to the obviously bound by the resolution or warning is the best predictable stasis point for tournament prep drop the video team. That's a whole laugh. No argument to drop C competing drop C. So yes, no question reason, but there's arbitrary device intervention and abuse. No, the RVI is the one is logically known for being fair or topical. That's the baseline. 2 device making abuse on the RVI and crowds out substance military presence. The basis strong 11 is generally acknowledged by the military and international relations studies and military presence refers to the establishment of military bases direct involvement with military complexes to one sovereign state with another. So military presence abuse used in strong refers to peacekeeping operations. Then sales neither of which are defined as military presence. Aid is distinct from presence. USA 22 military aid funds training payment and country military and sending weapons. The violation they don't defend aid and assistances that would CX. They're incredibly shifty, but literally all of their cards in the first advantage talk about aid, even if they're talking about support. It's definitely entropy, which still links all of our offense. So net ground they exploded by forgetting the mechanism by which they can solve the advantage. I that presence would spill over to arms. Says that it means that they get to the offense off of the weapons that are currently in Israel but will be sent to Israel, which knows every court just set about perceptions of withdrawal to limits. Actually justifies withdrawing presence to end world hunger that makes less than infinite offense that is possible to negate metaphysics is founded upon a paradoxical relation that marks blackness as nothingness. The world operates via a definition by opposition. Black being defines itself in existence in relation to the difference of blackness as non-being. This metaphysical holocaust cast blackness into a state of existence as an object of nothingness that justifies all attempts to eliminate from the world analysis of the way that wars waged against the black meat on a daily basis is conveniently and intentionally ignored by the analysis of the 1AC, War in 18, and anything like world disaster ability. Black is nothing so the schematization calculation and scientific progress met unchecked. The biological and visual resemblance on illusions, African embodied by radical otherness, and for Europeans ones, the ones in the whole called African becomes an alteration of humanity that against the European self-essential and ontological constitution. Africans' existence identity was lacking in instrumentality, philosophizing and intellectualizing had failed. The metaphysical holocaust makes the captive body an empty vessel into and vulnerable to projection of others' feelings, powers, ideas, and values. This onto side continues to impose illegal historical political change. The avoidance of nuclear war at all costs justifies the elimination of the other nuclear terror. But avoidance sort of action undertaking secure against being from terror requires an annihilation of being and the world itself, which is a precise by blackness has come to be situated as such. Middle of 5 model war is surprised by technological plan of how marginalized circulation, terrorism, metaphysical cost because of everything that touches the absence of which even through absence there would be that everyone off for being like an atomic bomb. All the targets against because of the possible targets to all possibly destroy the reality is already terrorized and two other attacks come on not being is in danger already destroyed. There's no wrong civil betray possible place a thing as possible. They become really know to be prepared that of an ordinary terrorism is not located with the fear of fictional power with aliens already inside of our world. The discursive structure of the one he sees in pop culture, whether it gets down upon and propagates multiple forms of anti-blackness via white epistemes, protagonist saviorism, and exploitation. Mitchell and Toronto 20, the discourse of the particular end of the world, they construct whiteness, the end of the world narrative frame the protagonist, the attributed agency whose survival is prioritized and deemed capable of the entire for the saving of the world. The contributors are white, the epistemes share biases, the smuggles more the judgments that from brown bombers into terrorists and bombers and mentally ill victims. Subjective claims narrative set that the whiteness is the protagonist, the survivors are framed as savior who social order by leveraging the existence of scientific powers, technological genius of these obscure the violence that which resilience is achieved, assuming that the leaders are not currently affected by the harms of any of these people of color living in pollution, already inescapable by communities floods, anxieties of population decline within precautions, we protect capacity of black bodies, the prejudice and incurable disease, the calamity and extinction, the one sees view international relations as countries in opposition to one another for power is incorrect and absolutely obfuscates the reality of global order in which ontological reduction of blackness is standing was over-justified by all countries engaging in civil possible world is fundamentally in collusion to sustain ontological violence. Though 15, the third of slave rebellion, but all nations political processes slavery was subjected to the men and women who to violence. There was not an operation of the liberal democracy of the United States, but a central contradiction. The new, the northern industrialists held this consolidation of global capitalism, fighting a vision of concentrating economic power and profit, the exploitation of white man and yellow and black labor, the new capitalism, imperialism built on assets extracted from slavery, global capitalism built upon colonialism, the slavery of the United States, integral part of capitalist imperialism, the form of labor extraction by the United States, slavery was exploded by laborers in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and the consolidation of new capitalists extending globally. The struggle for black labor did not depend on the recognition of white Americans, the U.S. state, but the recognition of other laborers of the color. The black American struggle was situated as part of the emphasis of the Anglo-American Empire, the alternative and ontological evolution or rejection of the metaphysical world and sustain through anti-blackness in favor of nihilistic embrace of the spirit rather than human war. 18 ontological evolution return the war and institution and metaphysical holocaust continue as long as what exists. Nihilistic revolution will be a revolution that destroys all life visitors for globalization the spirit exceeding and preceding the metaphysical new to keep the one the world apologists for anti-macrochality only producing social the best the theoretical lexicon for understanding black suffering and redemption the one is conceptualization of power material practice or sociality generally serious contributions from the branch of conversation of blackness and sufficient reason to reject the end comes before weighing the affable one ontology first advance the order honest investigating ontology is key to understanding our reality which supports the way that we make ethical decisions and over determined state and individual action proximity the way consciousness is a unique site of eventual growth for students and learn how to engage with the world and adjust orientations using the values of form for discussing values no testing no methods bias impacts that affect our thinking allowing individuals to representation the anti-black is ethically responsible plan against value restricted debate to authentic statement at least left to ask and question deeply responsible that way their knowledge is constructed and used performances that the judges and educated responsible for rejecting behavior and scholarly production that athletes should drop in fluent and link accessibility control which is debaters out of the debate space because they anti-black with the conceded comes forward to you but I represent the fiat is loosely and one puts it down voting out won't produce anything managed discuss about arguing still how we view debate and blackness in the first place for we have an ethical obligation to reject racism in every instance many 2K this struggle against racism be long difficult without no mention probably never achieved yet the struggle seems to be undertaken without concession the 2 years of racist universe is to be enjoys fear justice and violence all things considered we must have interest in banishing injustice or low racism condition of all theoretical black morality because in the end ethical choice demands and political choices in society must be just one accepted by all one the case of reject the one theory one two and I split and no because we go theory because it's 7-6 2 species and the theory collapsing the above social disadvantage and no theory not and John 2 they get to splitting it and forcing us to 20 theory and 50 cents shall losing something and resolve either you accept that theory was what thing we always do you don't if they honest on here and you just have to intervene making it impossible and if the reasons of upside 7 minutes only 7 minutes and just like draw the argument and reasonability at worst the framing commemorative words is not responsive at all no offensive reasons why it's good just reasons why truth testing is bad the syllogistic justification of the framework is a link it shows the investment in concepts like universality truth and the search for and the social elucidate everything in order to create the true moral framework that the structures that sustain anti-blackness and condemnation of Israel seems noble but promotes the same saviorism tropes that obfuscate ongoing anti-black violence to restore wealth for great power and extort discipline arguments in the second advantage frame the United States as a global manager and is the savior again which is another link to drive as evidence there's no skills impact zero reason why the discussion of the plan is actually valuable or it helps to marginalize the model of debate creates people like Ted Cruz who did debate just like you but then became a racist senator which put internal links towards any arguments about seed the political arguments the metaphysical Holocaust always extinction one probability it happens now but extinction claims are only based on chance also duration biological death happens instantly and more quick but no one thing is a continuous fact of existence the arguments about death is the arguments about death outweighing everything is homogenizing because it assumes that everyone exists in life in the same way but doesn't make any sense also actively excludes blackness they only care about black people when white people people die, which is a footnoting yeah.
Okay. Alright, very good. Okay, you didn't hide a spec eval, anything like
No.
that. Okay. I want to talk about what you said on case. Condemnation of Israel obfuscates ongoing anti-black violence. Is your argument that we should not discuss what Israel is doing in Gaza?
No, the argument is that the apps like focus and like the apps card where it's like, oh, look at all these countries who are like, we should stop sending aid to Israel. It shows like how good of an idea the app is, and like we should do this. Well, like even if you can win that, like stopping genocide in
Well, that's not what you
Gaza is a
said in
good
the 1
thing.
in C. What you said
The
is
argument-
condemnation of Israel obfuscates ongoing anti-black
Yeah,
violence.
it's like
So should we discuss
it's your
Israel?
focus on this thing, and the United States
Should we
needs to be the
discuss what
savior.
Israel is doing in Gaza then?
Sure,
okay,
we
wait,
can-
so your argument is, okay, AF says US is doing something bad, saying that the US should not do that bad thing means we're portraying the US as a savior?
Well, your argument is that the U.S. cannot do this bad thing and then save literally everyone from extinction. Our argument is that we should analyze the way that the United States itself is bad, and that will
Okay,
show us why the
I do want
actions
to
are
talk
bad.
about that. Why does the 1XC not analyze why what the US is doing is bad?
Sure, that the 1AC analyzes why things that the United States have done is bad, but does not analyze the structure of the United States as like a system of
Yeah,
that
so
runs
I don't know what the
progress.
difference between that is. You said the 1AC analyzes how what the US is doing is bad. but
Yeah, it looks
doesn't
it
analyze
looks
the
at things it looks at things like individual circumstances and isolates this. It's like, oh, the U.S. did this one bad thing. Let's do this one good thing, and we'll solve all of it, and everyone
Where
will
did
be
we
safe
say
from
this would
extinction.
solve all US imperialism ever? We
No,
said
it's not solve all U.S.
Yeah,
imperialism.
so okay, so the 1AC did not say that. That's what you just said. So
Yeah.
then what is the link?
The argument is that your focus on your thing of like Israel, you condemn Israel, right?
Okay,
And then
so
it
in the
makes-
one area, can I say you not talking about what the US is doing in Israel is bad because what we're doing in Israel is bad? Like, does that not cut both ways?
No, okay. Like the argument is that like an analysis of the structure of the United States and the institutions that have like brought it to
So
do
your
some bad
argument
things
is
in
we
Israel
should
or
turn
be
inwards,
anti-black.
analyze structures instead of talking about what Israel is doing in Gaza right now?
Well, the
Like,
argument is by turning inwards and analyzing the structures, we will get the solutions to the problems that you're talking about in specific instances. But if you only talk about the specific instances, then you're not able to analyze the structure, so they'll just reproduce themselves over and over again.
Okay, the critique, I mean, which one of your authors would disagree with like a world in which, you know, lives of all 7 billion people in the world, including black people, their lives are just erased?
Well, the argument is that the critique wouldn't like say that extinction is a good thing, but it would rather say that the way that you have framed extinction is a bad thing, and the way you have like framed state action is a
Okay,
bad thing.
so
the
what
way
does
that
the
you...
critique do to prevent extinction then?
Sure, the argument would be that through the alternative, which is the ontological revolution, we would destroy the world, the world, like the Western world, sort of in the ways that
I
it.
want to talk about topicality.
Uh-huh.
You said like precision. Actually, okay, in the context of this T military basis thing, why does precision matter? Or are you only saying limits and ground? Because I know you said precision on the other.
I mean, it would matter for like the same reasons. If you don't defend what military presence is, then it just lets you change what military presences are.
Okay, 5 minutes.
I'm gonna get one.
Didn't read anything on the advantage, right?
No.
Can the alt result in the plan?
I mean, the alt would like give it the United States. So.
Like how?
Well, it would be like it would just be like the destruction of the world.
Destroys the world. Is it conditional?
Yeah.
Stop prep 1:30 left. I'm sending that. Okay, order is actually let me just upload this to the spreadsheet. The overview, like no-winner theory,
Okay.
framing, and I will talk about advantage at the top of framing. T substantial, T arm sales, and then the critique.
Okay.
Okay, is everyone good?
1 second. So it's the theory hedge,
Mhm.
then it's the framing with the advantage stuff.
Yeah.
T subs, T presence, K.
Okay, are you good? Yes, one-air theory, key to check back against infinite negative use. It is not irresolvable because we'll give warrants for everything we say in the one-air, and when I see spikes don't solve because they're always fascist policy judges. Now the framing advantage, they drop the case, impacts all of them, are existential and erase all life on the planet, which their authors would never agree with. Basic comparative rules is not responsibly dropped. They must extrude the desirability of the plan, which is an independent justification for framework investments, and universality are not anti-black because they would not agree with allowing all black people to die, which is what they're all does. They say, talking about Israel advocacy, it's anti-black lines. One, if they win this, it is a reason to check the team because we have said and forwarded an argument for why allowing Israeli war crimes in Gaza to continue with that, and talking about that is also necessary too. Talking about Israel does not necessarily preclude talking about anti-blackness. Barkawi 12 to we're not substituting violence for violence, not until hierarchy, war, relation, characteristics of other violence. Why it's obvious obscure both war and future demand attention, but it's equal hard theories of 1045 sexual little wars because lose this central character. They say restore represent great power frames the US as a global manager. We do not say the US is a savior, but critique them for sustaining Israeli war crimes in Gaza. They say no reason clash helps marginalize it does because it allows us to advocate for the material politics outside of the debate that is necessary to produce material change. Tycoons example is wrong. Laura Schubert was also okay debate. It was also a policy debater. They say metaphysical holocaust that way is probability is wrong because they've conceded the case which means extinction will happen now, and biological death outweighs this is painful. Irreversible and progress is possible now. T substantial we meet one plan text and a vacuum counterturb. Only our aft counterturb substantial cinematic 17 central physical component called you. A quantitative counterturb reduce worsen faces to reduce. Not mean bring to not diminish and means within column teach obviously not mean through. Not where any story substitute meaning aft ground. There is literally zero country where we have 25%, which means it's functionally one after this is to pigs out of regions where we don't have presence or pigs out of countries when we add them together to be 25% and outweighs the absence of alcohol friends. Reduces still debates predictability for descriptive evidence willing to intend to include their evidence is about funding, not presence. We also remove troops and bases, which means that the 130 statistics not apply, and we get the RBI because it proves we didn't do anything unfair, functional limits, case assurance, otherwise just warning, and limited self-see advocate check reasonability, but it's good enough to run substance credit. Also, percentages linked to their offense allows will ask they defend 25% with 1% more, 0.01% more, which results in infinite permutations of countries now. T arm sales we meet one plan text and actually most subjective law violations based on different section of one to see evidence or law abuse makes T unbeatable counterturb only our counterturb presence versus basic troops and arm sales. The AF must reduce all three. No harm 90 report military personnel has US made provide military aid personnel concede the limiting right outweighs. We link turn and maintains their interpretation as a floor, but adds another condition of reducing arm sales, which is more limiting and strengthen distant links by forcing one to terminate the Nancy get pigs out of either troop bases or arm sales. Afghan they zero Israel October 7 Turkey and TLBs and more makes the arm sales counterpoint solve everything crossed by 5 functional limits and reasonability. Also, their evidence is not exclusive. It says military presence, quote, typically refers to basis is about China and a specific article inserted their evidence below. Now, the critique framework with a plan against a competitive alternative ideological and epistemological association to infinite unpredictable plan is one particular course of offense necessary for detailed clash and fair engagement. They also rely on fairness controls every aspect of their performance and anticipate the role of the ballot is to vote for the better based on your flow. It's only non-arbitrary, and they also rely on fairness. The act is not anti-black, they must distribute the consequences of the plan, not just the reps fiat illusory, but it's good to talk about it, which was a clash offense above. They dropped our Jarvis that the critique is intellectual elitism. The only implication is that material change is necessary, which only we define. Proximity is wrong. One, run cannot adjust orientations. One, all causes friends telling me the next 8 years of our lives that way. And two, no one assumes your argument is true just because you win it. The ballot should not discuss violence. One, they can still read the critique, but must rejoin the consequences of the plan. And two, exclusion is impossible and purely disproven by every round they've lost reading this. And it's not allowed. And the 10-second plan text is the reason why discussing consequences is necessary. The judge is obviously a judge and should vote for the later trader. And you should not drop us if they win a link because there are infinite things they can critique. Fairness outweighs the Miami card, but it concludes extinction outweighs and perm do both. The ball can overcome things, you can overcome this flow. None of their authors would agree with it, what the U.S. is doing in Israel now. Focus and they said, quote, the 1AC analyzes how the U.S. is doing in Israel and Gaza, which obviously proves that it's arbitrary to both let the reps criticize no link and turn the plan rejects U.S. hedge and critiques American troops and basis extinction outweighs dropped every war and infinite 4-5 houses willing to pay less vague all utopian fiat and floating pigs are better wish rates almost deficits make all debating impossible and ontology is wrong. It's descriptive, not prescriptive, and empirically disproven. Sakara and Bible 15 science is over prejudice FMRs which have coalition Trump's race sense in favor of hard much more than race market race and Mitchell is aft inserted their evidence but we're talking about politics with reps are good because they're necessary for material change and raising the third level.
Oh wait, can you send like a mug doc? Because I think there's a lot of stuff that you didn't.
I just marked one card.
Which one?
The Sigma and Van Babel card was marked at 1 second, I can't find it. It was marked at party much more than race.
Okay.
What's up?
The order is gonna be the OVI, and then the K with like the photos on the K. They were just utopian fiat and
They called utopian fiat floating pics.
floating pics.
So just 2K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me create some space. Do you need me to clear space at the top for the overview, or?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the RV. Alright, ready when you are.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah.
T, not going for it, they don't get the argument. The only one is because we prove you're fair. We need the argument that you don't win for being fair or logical. It just makes no sense. Otherwise, people just win for doing things that were fair. I also concede the argument that encourages baiting theory, which incentivizes more abuse, which is worse. And it also cards out something between you can't have a discussion over whether or not the plan is good or whether or not the plan was racist. Now, the K. The K, the question of this round is whether or not the app was anti-black. We'll extend the ontology thesis here and do that work at the very top, because if we win the framework debate, then we win, and then we win this round. Extend war in the world is inherently structured by metaphysics that attempts to define the world, what the world is, and how it operates. Metaphysics have become a structure of all civil society and is founded upon the transcendent ideals of humanism, universality, technology, science, rationality. That is what makes the world, and engaging in this project is what it means to be both as a human and as an entity worthy of ethical consideration. The confrontation with blackness allowed Western metaphysics to find its enemy as blackness functions as a site where Western metaphysics was confronted by the other, which was different from being defined by Western metaphysics. Nothingness or non-being is an intrinsic enemy of all rationalization, since the goal of metaphysics is to elucidate all that exists, to rationalize, to predict, and to conquer. Regardless of how hard metaphysics tries, it can never truly achieve the ultimate objectivity and elucidation that it seeks. Is illustrated by the anthropomorphizing of all metaphysical projections, claiming that indigenous people and black people can't reason. Hegel believing that black Africans were just a race of children who remained immersed in a state of naivete, or Aristotle arguing that slavery was actually beneficial to the slave. This is the metaphysical holocaust, or the elimination of blackness from a category of being, which justifies the unending attempt to eliminate blackness at all costs via violence, terror, and destruction. That will answer the arguments now. The first quote about neuroscience makes no sense. It was called before a warrant. You should reject it independently. The use of neuroscience is a new link in trying to attempt to rationalize the brain and use science. So these things are all links as we critique science, rationality, etc. and the study of these sorts of things as attempts to homogenize a total human subject that can then be seen as what their brain is doing, so we can actually know everything that's happening inside their heads, which is obviously another link because they uphold the structures which cause blackness, and we prove that they invest into these structures, and these structures inevitably cause anti-blackness. And it means first that they cannot solve the case because they conceded the ontology first argument, because they concede the ontology first argument. We're not going for this K as ontology, rather as the structural K, which is still matters because the structural way that the world operates, i.e. if Western metaphysics overdetermines everything, then it means that it overdetermines state action. That was the argument that they conceded, because they say that we need to focus on the specifics, but you conceded that if you focus on the specifics, then we never understand the structures which cause the specifics in the first place, which means that we never diagnose the root cause, which the K is able to do, because the reason why war, anti-blackness, etc. and all forms of violence happen is because of Western metaphysics trying to elucidate elucidate everything which causes more violence to the elimination of blackness and other forms of radical alterity. Now the 1 AR theory debate. First off, we're going for drop the argument. They conceded that even if they get 1 AR theory because of infinite abuse, it justifies drop the argument. We're not going for the alternative. Kick it. The only arguments they made were fake, alt-utopian, fiat, and floating picks, which means that you just drop the alternative. If we win a link, then it proves that they should lose because we're going for a you link, you lose model on the framework debate, which means all we have to do is win a link and it proves that the plan both one is a bad idea and two that the plan both one is a bad idea and two that you should reject them on a pre-fiat level because the representations are bad and it's ethically irresponsible to allow people to continue being anti-black. The many evidence will extend it. It will extend it here for the framework debate. They conceded it. It says that we have an ethical obligation to reject anti-blackness in every single instance, which affects your jurisdiction as a judge, means that even if you should be a fair adjudicator, before that comes you being an educator who has to reject racism in every instance, means if I win a link, it's accessibility concern, which is the next argument that we're going for. They say that fairness comes before it, but that doesn't matter because we made the argument that comes before fairness, and you conceded that comes before everything else. That was made on the truth testing flow, and you said inclusion actively pushes people out of the basis for the same argument. Even if fairness is good, it's only good insofar as people within the debate space to have fair debates. If black people get pushed out of debate because of your racist representations, then it means that it is bad. All of the arguments that the alternative failed, it doesn't matter because we're not going for it. It doesn't matter because we're not going for it. The framework debate here. The framework debate, they've made no arguments to justify why it should happen other than just fairness. But we've already impacted on fairness as accessibility coming first. It said that your obligation is to reject racism in every instance, which means if we win a link, then it justifies it. Also, the world about in the 1AC did not justify it. There's no offensive reasons why it's good. Just reason why truth testing is bad. Just a reason why truth testing is bad. We did not drop Jarvis. We said that there's no reason why you make any actual material change. No skills offense coming out of the 1AR. There's no reason why those skills spill up. The Ted Cruz example, they just gave another example, but it proves that even if good people come out of debate, so do bad people, which means your job should be to make ethical subjects who actually are able to reject racism in every instance. Now we're going for the extinction link, extend Michelle and Chandra. That's an apocalyptic rhetoric that want to see indulge itself in the discursive project of warning against the end of the world and imagining scenarios in which they're the white savior of it. There are several warrants why the project is being entrenched in the paradigm of anti-blackness versus epistemology. The research project of the 1AC takes place in a place exclusively within zones of white dominance. Our evidence is fantastic about how on this issue it outlines the field of apocalyptic imagination composed entirely of white scholars without diversity or thought of experiences, which allows them to the project of the opponent to bake in historical tropes and black people as criminals, terrorists, or abundant routines. They are treated as exact science, which creates epistemological conditions of savior. Also, white saviors are the 1AC engaged in forms of white saviorism, where the 1AC themselves are the savior. They'll go for extinction out ways, but they're trying to also justify in erasure and avoiding just that because they only care about black people dying when white people die, which is why they'll say, oh, we need to stop extinction for all people. Black people would also care if they die, but you only care about that when white people die because white people have an obsession with extinction, and when black people are already going extinct, consider that metaphysical holocaust outweighs because it's constant because it's happening right now. The proximity argument, even if one can't adjust orientations, it can still make a statement that we should do these things independently. We can see the argument that allowing racist representations to continue is ethically irresponsible. The argument that the ballot should not discuss violence make no sense. What other things can it do? What other things should it do? It means that people will be able to do things like say the N-word in round or be actively racist, which would just be a terrible model of debate. The plan focus bad argument, even if it means they say 10 seconds, but just the consequences of the plan are not the only thing. Even if representations are tied to the representations are not tied to the consequences of the plan because the plan never happens. Even if you debate about the plan being a good idea, it's a question of whether or not these things actually come to be. Now we're going to the IR link is another reason to drop them. They concede that all of the arguments are reason why hegemony is bad. We're not going for hegemony being a bad thing, but rather the discussion of IR. You say that things like Israel and Iran have invested reasons to be fighting against one another, but that obfuscates the way that everybody's invested in anti-blackness. They just don't have defenses to the metaphysics.
130. Let me just scroll. 130 starting max. It's the K, and I'll talk about actually K's K. Okay.
I assume you're starting at framework, right, and not like or on the K.
It's kind of top.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I'm not exactly sure.
That's fine. Just sign post.
If I run out of time, I'll like just change the order. Okay. Is everyone good? It is true that they draw that the status quo makes extinction inevitable and turns the world into a nuclear hellscape. They draw that none of their authors would agree in a world in which all black people die, disproportionately harsh largest population, and lost in the painful death of all 7 billion people on the planet. If at any point you've thought about voting on the all vote after observing the possibility for it, in the first place, they're planning a short-term nuclear war, and we have not done anything racist because they do not have a link to the plan. Independently, they have dropped that an independent reason to reject the team on case. They said in the one to see that discussion of Israel obfuscates anti-black violence, which means that we shouldn't discuss it. They dropped that it's a reason to reject the team because we have impact turned the reason for why we sorry, my timer just didn't go off in the first place, so I'll start like 2:35, I think. Sorry. Okay, sorry. They've dropped that, the one I say impact turns and says that it's necessary to talk about what Israel has done, and their obfuscation of that is necessarily a reason to reject them, which will be explained more on the critique. Now, the critique goes that if you cannot explain the link to the plan to me after the round, you cannot vote neg, especially because they dropped too many offensive things on framework. Now, the metaphysics link is wrong. They dropped that the frame is description, not prescription. There are others say that the U.S. has done racist shit. We agree, but they've dropped that none of them say that the world will always stay that way, too. They cannot say our Carlos Marchiarli and not into the warrants in there. And they dropped that neuroscience demonstrates that social norms, political parties, and our social structure have far more explanatory power. They say we view black people as the other. All these examples are wrong. We do not say slavery is good. We do not say that black people cannot reason, and no part of the 1C said any of these things. They said at 1C cross 6 that the U.S. critiques, that the plan critiques what the U.S. has done in Israel, which necessarily proves that the link is wrong, and they have not read an actual one. Now they say Sakar was covered for a warrant. They dropped that the warrant that says that mixed race teams triggered positive associations, which demonstrates that the world is not metaphysically structured against black people. Neuroscience is not a new link. They have no reasons why science is anti-black. They dropped the warrant, which is true. It doesn't homogenize because it's just statistical analysis, but at worst it's a reason to drop the argument, especially because they dropped that the unwitting ontology is necessary namely an AFL because only we defend material change. Now framework with the plan's consequences against a competitive alternative. One, fairness. Drop the plan is only predictable because of offense, ideological and epistemological associations are infinite and unpredictable. They drop that they also rely on it, which means every dissent links to them and controls every aspect of their performance in this debate. Two, drop debates over predictable controversies, foster in-depth research and epistemic humility, which straight turns are offense because only condensation and robustly defending the critique against well-prepared activism allows you to explore the politics into the real world, which is a conceded argument. Now we do not drop ontology first. They drop the humanity card is necessarily a justification for why extinction outweighs because we should quote struggle against racism, and that racism is bad because quote injustice engenders violence and death, which is the only terminal effect that we have. They say they overdetermine state actions to plan prison instance where it's possible, and they drop the tension to detail is key to material change, no root cause. There's no explanation of why Western metaphysics means we go to war, and they drop they must disregard specific interlinks. Our reps are not bad. They drop the popular Olympic reps are good. The iron link does not matter because they drop the specific instance of the plan is good. They said we critique the U.S. in cross states, and obviously they all the warrants were said after the timer went off, which means it's irrelevant. They've also dropped the re-highlighting the mutual evidence that says extinction is a categorically distinct category because the race is all human value, and the memory card was above. They dropped in such illusion to the team on case, which means that if you do must reject anti-blackness and every instance of violence, then it's a reason to vote off on presumption because both sides have introduced a racist argument, and it's irresolvable that they say even if fairness is good, it only matters if there's people to enjoy. Our interpretation is not exclusionary. They drop they can still read the critique as long as we get the consequences. They drop every reason for why extinction outweighs why why class changes are often the exclusion is empirically disproven, and that it's infinite, a floor for value, and this was all conceded coming out of the 1AC, but they've dropped an independent reason to reject the team that outweighs under their framework.
Good debate.